that's a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's tough though. Like as you move up, it gets really tough. It's really about like getting better through ACR and through these Zoom pools, and
Sorry,
then
remind me where
taking those
ACR
skills.
is.
America's Card Room, isn't that what you're playing on?
Oh yeah, I just didn't make the connection. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really just about like getting better through there, like against tougher
Yeah.
players, and then
Yeah.
going and playing like live games or like games on apps that are
Oh
a lot
yeah.
softer. That's
And
would
scoop
be my
up the real
recommendation.
income there. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some app games that are really really soft, and then obviously live poker is just
Huh.
still really beatable all the way up until like 5-10. Then you start to see some like better players, but even then there's always spots.
Right. Right. Yeah. I feel like I
All
mean
right.
I'm still stuck at 1025 or 2550 really. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think it's like really a lot. There are a lot of bots like GTO bots, which is actually in a weird way for
You
where I'm
think
at kind
so?
of a good thing. Oh yeah, I think there are some bots that are just obviously like just following blank GTO charts or trying to like farm blinds or something like that.
Yeah, pre-flop, I would say even at 25 NL, 50 NL, I would say pre-flop people are, kind of got that down pat. I think there's still some
Okay.
spazzes, and I think that they under bluff. But to your point, I think people understand opening ranges and like three bet spots pretty well. And then as you start
Mm-hmm.
getting deeper and as you start looking at like four bets and five bets, I think people are um, a little bit less balanced and not as good there. But
I
as
see.
far as like initial opens, yeah, people are decent.
Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, totally different from the casino where it's just like so soft. So yeah,
Yeah, it's like a five limpers, a huge
right.
squeeze, and everybody calls, or it's like a limp jam, and you're like, all right, aces.
Right, right. Huge meme. Yeah. All right. Well, here, let me
All
share
right,
my screen.
sure. And
Uh,
then what do you think is like an area that you're struggling with the most? Do you think that like pre-flop you kind of got it down pat, or do you think even pre-flop you're still a little bit unsure in a lot of spots, and then post-flop you're struggling, or do you think it's like both? You're kind of just guessing.
okay, so my pre-flop, I very much cleaned up. Like I just play straight GTO as far as I can, and now I think I'm at the point where I can start adjusting to different types of players. But I'm just right on that edge. Like now I know good, solid, like pre-flop strategy.
Hmm.
Post flop is like I feel very insecure, so we should probably focus on that. And you will see some pre-flop mistakes from if we go back to a hand that I played, a while ago, which I did find a couple of those. But
Yeah, I was gonna say because
yeah,
even the original hand, I think you posted that. I kind of made a comment on with like king queen of spades,
yeah,
like right off the bat. I would say like that's just like a spot that you should just always be four betting that. I
okay,
would never like be flatting there out of position. But like I said, as you start getting into some of these, like all right, there's an open and a three bet. What hand am I four betting for value? What am I folding? What am I four betting as bluff? And there's like a bunch of considerations. But that one specifically, it was just like button open, small blind three bet. Like king queen suited is just like a slam dunk four bet.
cool.
Uh, but that's kind of besides the point. Well, let's take
Yeah,
a look
we'll
at a couple
we'll
other
be
hands
looking at
and then
that one,
we
I
talk
believe.
about them.
Yeah. So
All right, cool.
let me make sure. Okay, allow discord.com to see your screen. Screen two. Boom. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
There I
See, AC to
am.
club.
Overlord Trump there. Let me see. I think I need to. I would like to. Yeah, where's that hand where. That we were actually talking about in.
The king queen of spades. Yeah,
Right, right, right.
I think you just linked in your comment.
There we go. Your stream is still running. We've just paused this preview
Yeah, you're
to
good. It's loading
see.
on my
Oh,
screen.
okay, good. So not your preview, but my preview. That's fine.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, so blinds, and I get dealt ace, king, queen. Okay, I'm gonna mute this shit. All right, like 2.5. This guy would do this all the time in position, just standard 2.5x raise in position with all sorts of garbage. Very loose guy. Okay, I think, yeah, Mad Robot Space is from small blind, as you can see. He's a little bit tighter, something like 21-17, I think, which is actually about where I tend to hover, or less, like 17-9, sometimes as low as 9. So, yeah, and I just call him here. I think you were saying that I should just raise here, right?
So you run into this problem, and you see people do this a lot. The only spots that I'll cold call a three bet is from the button.
Okay.
Like let's say, like hijack opens, cut off three bets. Like from the button, maybe I'll call some hands like king queen suited or tens, just because I'm going to be in position. But in spots like this, and even then, like I'm calling knowing that I could very well like get four bet squeezed out, right?
Yeah.
Because the initial raiser, you don't want to be in a spot where you're not closing the action, because you can get in a lot of fucked up spots. Like El Dorado can honestly just like shove here with like ace queen or tens plus,
Yeah.
and then you're just in a really awkward spot. Whereas if you four bet, you're gonna push him out very very often. Like he's gonna be folding 95% of his hands,
I
and then
see.
you'll be in position the entire hand because now all of a sudden either a small blind will come along and you'll be in position with a really playable hand,
Yep.
or he'll just fold and you take down what is this 2.5, 10.5. You'll take down like 13 bigs, so that's not bad either.
Yeah, that makes
And as
sense.
far as sizing, uh, in like this is a spot a lot of people get wrong, but so it's 2.5, 10.5. So your four bet sizing here is actually not going to be super big. It's going to be like low to mid 20s. So
Okay.
it's going to be like 23, 24 big blinds.
Yeah.
Just because that's pretty much any size is going to force the button out because
Yeah.
his range is super wide, and he doesn't want to just call a cold four bet. And then the small blind is kind of in this fucked up spot where he's going to be out of position the whole hand.
Yeah.
So he has to tighten up his range a lot. So you can just use a small size. And then also, if you get jammed on, you're just risking a lot less. So
Got it. So raising to $5, 5.75, something like that would push out
yeah, well,
Eldorado.
what I say like 23 big. So yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I always play big blinds. So probably closer to like $6, I guess. Yeah, that'd be a good size. 6 to 650, somewhere in that range. If you're deeper, maybe you go up. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to like 23, 24 bigs.
Yeah.
But anyway, as played, you just flat, and then the button comes along.
Yeah. So he calls, obviously. Easy for him to call there, I guess, with his range.
Yeah, and that's a problem, right? Is
Right.
all of a sudden he could just come along now with like any pocket pair, a lot of suited like one gappers, and just you're playing awkwardly because you're out of position multi way without initiative.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay. So he opens with 10 big blinds.
Well, it checked to him, right? Because he was on a button, so it checked to him.
Yeah. What do I do? I raise here. Um, yeah, and the logic behind this was that I wanted to represent a flush draw and push out any jack, any pocket pairs, things like that. Don't know if
So
that's.
this is actually. So do you want to talk about hands like as on each street, or you want to just talk about it at the end? What do you
Um,
prefer?
I don't have a preference. Maybe we should wait until the end, and I can just show you what happens.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. And so this is where it gets fucked up. Yeah. So what do you
and
think of
he
that
had
show?
that was queen nine of clubs, right? It
Here
always
it
goes
is.
by the hand so fast. I forget if it was queen nine off or queen nine of clubs.
Oh, him. What did he show? Yeah, queen off.
I know
Queen
he
nine.
had queen
Oh, it
nine. I
was it
just didn't
was
know.
two clubs. Yeah. So he wins with the flush. Yeah.
So I would say right off the bat, I think the small blind checking is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
He, I'm assuming, just had like a complete whiff. It'd be like ace five or I don't know sevens or something like that.
Uh huh.
This is a board that both you and the button are gonna interact with really well. You guys are both gonna have a lot of these like middling suited connectors, these middling pairs like eights, nines, tens, jacks,
Right.
especially at 25 NL where people like El Dorado's probably not four betting jacks. Maybe he should,
Yeah.
maybe he shouldn't, but he probably isn't. So Mad Robots check is good. If I were you, I would just check and flow.
Okay.
Especially with this hand, you have a really good hand that just wants to try to realize their equity. And what I mean by that is you want to just see turns and rivers as cheaply as possible.
Uh huh.
Um, if you had something like King Queen of Clubs, where all of a sudden now you have the open ender and you have the flush draw, you just have a ton of equity and you're a little bit more happy to stick it in.
Yeah.
But with this exact combo, you have an open ender, you have King High, which is probably not going to be good, but like maybe you turn a king and a queen and have the best hand, and you have backdoor spades, which is really nice.
Right.
So the problem with like check raising your hand is you don't really get that much to fold. I don't think Eldorado is folding much to a check raise, especially not a min one.
Right.
And then you're kind of just in awkward spots on a ton of turns. Like
Okay.
unless you turn obviously an ace or nine, like unless you turn a nuts or unless you turn a spade draw, you don't really know where you're at. Like if you
Yeah.
turn the four of spades, you can probably just rip it and just hope he folds like ace ten, king jack, stuff like that.
Yep.
But
So I'm
your
seeing that.
merit of what
Sorry. Go ahead.
would you say?
Keep going.
I was gonna say, but this whole like, oh, I'm trying to rep a flush draw.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good logic to have, right? I don't think you should just randomly be trying to rep hands that you don't actually have any blockers to, right?
Uh huh.
Um, if I were you, I'd be raising obviously all my made hands, eights, tens, jacks, jack ten. If you show up with queen nine suited here, I'd be raising those, and I'd just be raising like the tippy top of my draws, like my club draws, my nut club draws, my club draws with a nine,
Yeah.
like jack nine of clubs, queen jack of clubs, stuff like that. Just your really high equity hands that even if you get jammed on, you're just like pretty comfortable getting the money in.
Yeah.
These middling strength draws, I'd just kind of be in check call mode and then just evaluate turns and rivers.
Got it.
Uh, I like your turn give up. I think the turn's pretty bad for you. I don't know what he's bet calling flop with that's going to fold now in the turn. Like if he's calling flop with the ace jack, he's going to call the turn as well.
Yeah.
And in the river, you botched it pretty bad.
Right.
You could block here, like bet a third, and try to get called by those aforementioned like one pair jack x, 10x, maybe like 10-9.
Uh huh.
Try to get called by hands like that. But man, on a third club, uh, I think he's going to have a lot of club draws here, and I think if you're betting the size you did, which is pretty big, you're really just putting yourself in a spot where everything better is calling or jamming, and everything worse is just going to find a fold. And
Got
then
it.
obviously calling the jam is just like pure punt, right? Like
Yeah.
you're never winning calling the jam.
I see that now.
The one look you have to look at each action as like a street, right? So I mean, there's a three bet pre-flop. He bet called flop, and now is jamming over a bet on the river. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
he shows up with like ace nine with the ace of clubs or something like that. But
Yeah. I actually gave
it's really
him
hard to find bluffs.
the ideal. I probably gave him the ideal opportunities to realize the equity of his hand. So
Well, he flopped a straight too, so
I guess.
he did flop the nuts, and he had the flush redraw. So
Yeah.
you found a really good spot to just put in your money with very little equity. But it's fine. It's better to just take a step back and be like, all right, what did I do wrong without? Like I said, for me, if you four bet pre, he just folds, and then
Right.
you could just like probably c bet take it down
That's
against
true.
Mad
I could have
Robots.
gotten that hand completely out of the way at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
Um,
Mad Robots is probably I
maybe he
think
calls, maybe he folds, maybe he jams,
yeah,
maybe he jams like ace king, and then you just get fucked. But
right,
Mad Robots is probably going to find a lot of folds. Or if he does call, you have a really good flop to just barrel big and take it down.
cool. All right,
But
so
yeah,
I think I
that
have
was
some
cool
good
talk.
takeaways from there. I'll review later.
Hmm.
Um, let's have another one, and we can go as obviously. Um, I've got a ton of these hands, as you can see, so as many as you can do is fine. I didn't necessarily care about.
Yeah, whichever one do you want to look at first, and then we'll see where we're at. I mean, if we can get through them in like 5, 10 minutes each, we can go through them for like an hour or so.
Okay. And if this you want me to switch to slow, I can do that as well.
Nah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. So
Well,
would you?
what was the flop action? I'm sorry, it was you donked. How did Cash Meow get in a raise?
I want to see this again.
I missed that. I mean, pre-flop's pretty bad, but
Yeah. You don't call here as me, right? You raise.
yeah, I'd be playing three better fold here, unless he's just like a super mega whale. You want to just play pots?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
So I led. Yeah. Yikes. So that's what happened, basically. That's it.
Yeah, I think you know that this hand's not very good.
Yeah.
What is it? What do you use for charts, by the way?
I actually got these free GTO pre-flop charts from Jonathan Little's website. I know he gets a lot of shit, but I found them to be very useful. The charts that he put up.
Yeah, those are good. I also use. I'll send it to you. I also use Poker Snowies. I
Oh,
think that those are pretty helpful. Those give you a little bit more exact, like, what if you're facing a three bet, if you're facing a four bet, stuff like that.
cool.
It's in certain spots. Um,
Oh, nice.
I would say err on the side of caution, maybe for some of these.
Sure.
If you go down, you just have to click like open the web app. If you go down to the bottom,
Oh, cool.
and
All
then
right.
yeah, some of these err on the side of caution, but I definitely think that
Okay.
this is going to be a helpful tool as well.
Okay.
Because yeah, ace eight suited is just a fold from these positions.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think he's just a huge whale, maybe you can call and gamble it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Then once very lucky three bets, same thing. It's just like not a fun spot to put another, 8 or 9 bigs, and then just donking the flop is obviously just doesn't really accomplish much.
Yeah. So in this exact position, I'm just sort of
Folding.
checking.
I just fold pre.
Right. Well, I led.
Yeah, I'd fold
Yeah.
pre, and then once you call pre,
Yeah.
donking multi-way on an ace type board is generally not advisable. Your
Right.
range is just like if you have five sixes, ace five, ace six. If you have those types of hands here,
Yeah.
I'd be looking to check raise because one of these two is probably going to be betting very often.
Right.
And then with ace eight, maybe check call depending on like sizing and who bets. Yeah, that's kind of the problem with flatting this
Oh,
hand is
for some reason
you're
I
a lot of
thought
awkward spots.
that I had fixed the pre-flop leak here, but no, yeah, you just fold these. Yeah.
It's all good. All right.
Ah. Okay, this one looks
Looks like the pot is $18.
better. Yeah.
It looks
Okay,
like you were
I
watching.
just missed everything.
Hit stop.
You hit
I
stop.
think if you had stopped
Okay,
it.
cool. Okay. What sayest thou so far?
What do you think?
I think I should have folded.
I mean, this hand's pretty garbage.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's probably
You-
it, right? Yep.
Yeah, you have a low jack open,
Mm-hmm.
and then a small blind three bet, like queen jack off is just plays really poorly, even versus 3x open. Like queen jack is just a call, but it's definitely not facing this 3-bet, and you're also short, so it's okay.
Oh, true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's
Sam's
what I
just
wanted to know about that one.
well.
Cool.
hmm
Let's
Why are you
see.
short these hands? You don't have auto top up on.
What's that?
Why are you short?
I do not have auto top up on. I don't want to put any more money into this website until I learn more about it. So yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's see what
That was
happens.
terrible. That okay. Here we go.
This looks interesting because you start the hand with 20 bigs. How bad could this be? You have 20 big blinds. And this
Oof.
surely can't be that bad. Hopefully this is just like an open and a jam or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm basically asking for it,
Raising,
right?
raising's fine.
Yeah. So third pair, not good. Okay, but he checks back. What do you think of leading in this spot?
I don't know why you're using this hand to lead. You have no money behind, so I mean, never really gonna fold a king. You don't have a spade in your hand, and
Hmm.
you're actually like not at the bottom of your range. So typically, if you're gonna turn a hand into a bluff, you really just want to be at like have no showdown, right?
Yeah.
If I was gonna bluff here, I'd rather have like I can't even. I'm trying to think of a one
Ace,
spade hand
Jack,
that wanted to bluff here.
off. Well,
Yeah, like if you're deeper, yeah. If you had like a 100 BB stack,
yeah,
obviously all your Broadway combos that have the ace of spades probably want to put in some money. But
yeah,
yeah, ace without a spade here just seems really spewy because you're just going to get picked off by any king.
yep. Got it. All
And
right.
then I'm assuming you just jammed river for like 1 6 pot or something because I saw you got stacked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what yeah, you're
Right. Yeah.
jamming for
That was
20%
just.
pot. So yeah,
I wanted more
that's not
coffee.
going to work.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
So.
saw he called you just a king. So
Right. Yeah.
pre-flop's fine
Exactly.
though. I mean, you should be squeezing that hand pretty. Honestly, you had 19 bigs. You could also just jam it in.
Yeah. At this point, I just have the charts up on my other screen because yeah. Uh,
Do you have any hands where you don't get stacked?
yeah, I
I
think
feel bad.
so.
All these hands are just getting stacked, man.
That's the league I want to fix, right? This I think this was similar. Like I had $5 left or something.
Looks like you had 23.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got
you're almost.
badly
All
stacked.
right, let's see this hand. Let's see this.
I'm glad. If this provides you with some entertainment value, my mission is accomplished. By the way,
I played a little bit at 200 Zoom before we started,
yeah.
and I saw some guy ripping like 500 bigs effective. He had 10-5 suited versus ace king suited. He banked a 500 river to take down a $2,000 pot, so that was pretty entertaining.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was like, why don't I get these punts
Oh
going
my
my way?
gosh. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Did you see his re-raise there? Same guy.
Yep.
Did I just lead?
Yeah.
All right. Well, looking back at that, that could have been better. Because he calls with, yeah, I'm just giving him free money. Yeah. He. So that happened.
Yeah, he had queen. Yeah, he had queens.
Yep.
I think we saw it before. All right.
So I'm not
So what
putting
do you
this.
think of that hand? What do you think? Where do you think you botched it?
I think pre-flop was fine-ish. Yeah.
Mm-mm. I wouldn't use this.
Hmm.
This open's pretty big. I wouldn't. I mean, if people are calling way too wide, maybe I open like 2.5x. I think people that
Yeah.
open just as I think min raising is a little bit too small, especially at 25 NL.
Yeah.
So I think 2.5x should kind of be your go-to open. Maybe as big as 3x. You went over 3 by a hair, which I think is overkill.
Okay.
Then you get 3-bet. So your hand's kind of just a fold. Actually, it doesn't
Right.
play well out of position.
Yeah. So
Uh, I'd only be calling like my suited broadways, and honestly, you're supposed to four bet sometimes, but I would just be calling like ace ten, ace jack, ace queen suited, and then obviously like re-raising with your ace king,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
your aces and kings and stuff. But yeah, this ace eight is just a fold.
Got it.
But anyway, you do see a flop and you flop a pair.
Yeah. So say
You
this
go for a
eight was
lead.
like a jack or something. That wouldn't have. I don't know if that would have changed. Yeah,
Yeah,
the 10 just
ace jack and
stops.
ace ten are more acceptable calls.
Right.
There's a big difference if like playability. Because if you're calling, if you just pause, like if you're calling ace eight suited,
Yeah.
you're also calling ace nine suited. You're also probably calling ace seven, ace six.
Hmm.
Like what suited aces are you folding to a three bet? Because you're probably just going to end up just calling way too many hands out of position.
Right. So I kind of make it easy for him. Actually, I want to look at that bet size. 21 big blinds. So that's actually very easy for a lot of his cards to call. Right.
Well, you bet flop for half pot, then you check called half pot on the turn, and then you donk jammed river.
Yeah.
I think you made this hand really easy for your opponent to play.
Yeah.
Because when you donk flop on a rainbow board like this, he's just gonna fold any hand you're ahead of, right? He's just gonna fold his ace kings. He's
Yeah.
gonna fold his ace queens. You're really only getting value from like ace five, maybe sevens.
Uh huh.
Sevens probably fold. So yeah, you're really only getting value from like ace five. All of his overpairs are obviously calling. All of his 10x are calling.
Yeah. So
Um,
this hand as a bluff just doesn't work for that reason.
well, I don't really know why you're turning this hand into a bluff,
Oh, right. It's not a
right?
bluff because of the yeah pair, second
So
pair there.
when you're thinking about hands, I think Doug Polk actually had a decent article on Upswing a couple years ago, and it broke down hands in like four categories. Category one is your nutted hands, your really strong value hands, obviously your aces and kings pre, your sets post, your flushes, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So those hands you want to be betting, raising. Then you have like your category two, which are like yeah, pretty strong, but probably not three streets of value. You're probably not stacking off with them that often.
Yeah.
Then you have like your tier three, which are like your bluff catchers,
Yeah.
and your weaker hands, and then four is just like your complete whiffs. So this is
Yeah.
probably falling into like the third category where you have second pair top kicker, but it is a three bet pot, so you're probably not like getting stacks in, but maybe you'll call a street or two.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I was playing this hand, I probably would have if well I would have folded pre, but let's say I end
Yeah.
up at this flop with ace eight suited. You have a really good candidate to just check call. Let's say
Yeah.
he bets a third, you check call. Turn if he bets again, it starts getting kind of close. If
Yeah.
you think he's bluffing too much, maybe you call turn. If he jams river, you probably just have to give this up. I mean,
Yeah.
there's really not that many bluffs on the turn, so this hand's
Yeah.
just dicey. I'm also
I
confused why
now
ACR
understand.
got
Yeah,
two.
it's helpful for me to understand why it is too, and how the history plays out. So
Yeah, and you just kind of I would think about it like that. Say, am I bluffing or am I value betting? And then if you're saying, okay, I'm value betting this second pair, what are you trying to get called by?
right. I guess straight draw type things.
Yeah, well, especially once you get to the river, right? Because
Yeah.
if he has a draw, he just missed, so he's just gonna fold to a bet. And if he has an
Right.
overpair or hand better than yours, he's just gonna call.
Yeah. 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 They will
So
not fold 10 at any time. Right.
yeah, I mean maybe they fold like 10-9 suited if they think you're strong, but yeah, I don't imagine they fold any top pairs.
Yep. I need to remind myself of this. Might be kind of juicy. Let's see what happens with this. Okay, 2.5x. Oh no, never mind. I'm big blind. Jeez. Okay, I think most reasonable people would just fold the threes there, right?
No, not from
No.
the big blind.
Okay.
No, you're closing the action. You have a really good. I mean, if you're folding threes here, you're just especially versus like 2.1x or whatever. Yeah, I think he opened 2.2, right? 55 cents.
Yeah, whatever it
Yeah, I
was.
mean, no, threes is a pure call. I mean, I'm never three betting here,
Cool.
never folding here. It's a pure call.
Okay. Check. Thank you. I think my bet was too small, right?
Yeah, I think so. From if you want to talk like solvers and GTO,
I can, yeah.
with these bottom sets where you're not like if you think about threes, you're not blocking any of his flush draw like his one heart hands. Obviously, you're not blocking any of his top pairs like his ace x.
Yeah.
So you can really just put in a big bet here. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's ever going to lead for an overbet once flop goes check check, but
Yeah.
yeah, half pot seems a little small. I'd be doing some check raising and then some, like 80% pot bets. I don't know if I'd be over betting, but I mean half pot's not like the worst thing. But yeah, you could definitely go bigger for
Yeah.
check raise.
Okay, again, I think the bet is too small, right? It just doesn't get full value out of this hand.
Yeah, it depends what you think he has. I mean, once he checks back flop, he doesn't really have too many strong aces, right? He doesn't have like ace king or ace queen.
Yeah, he
But
doesn't
this
have
this
any
bet seem bet seem
hearts.
this bet seems okay.
Okay.
Did he call or raise?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks, but
Yeah.
I'd probably call too. What do you
I
have?
don't. I didn't see clearly what.
Why does it go so quickly?
Hold on. Let's go. Oh, he did have the
Oh, he
flush.
does not have
Yeah.
flush. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty bad flop check back from him.
Yeah.
Uh, that's probably just a pure C bet. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of up to you. I don't think people bluff raise many rivers, so I mean you could take
Huh.
that to say, I'm not going to fold a set, but
Yeah.
there's merit to calling and folding. It's kind of player dependent.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think this may have just been, yeah, this was just a bullshit like situation because he was very I remember seeing him very splashy. We all whittled him down within a few of these kinds of things. So
Yeah, this hand I don't really mind. Like I
yeah,
said, I would
yeah,
you could go bigger on the turn. Calling the raise on the river is like it's never fun. 'Cause no matter
yeah.
what stake you're at, people just don't raise enough rivers as a bluff.
Hmm.
But it's calling with the set isn't the worst thing. If you called it like ace six or something, that'd be a bit worse. Or ace nine,
Right.
those would be pretty bad calling hands. But calling with
Yeah.
threes is like, who knows? Maybe sometimes he's raising like ace king for value.
True. Yeah. Yep. Okay. This must have been a pre-flop mistake again. Let's see. What happened here? Oh, this is when I try to do 2550. I had the same hand in another hand that. Yeah, so why did he bet there?
With it bet or did you bet or did he bet?
Hold, uh, hold on. Go
These free
fast,
players
but
suck.
yeah.
Do you have poker tracker or no?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I
It's
think
the
that's like
next one I'm
70
gonna
or 80
try.
bucks. But yeah, that it's a lot better for replays. I mean, this isn't the worst, but it's definitely not very good either.
Yeah, they don't even have
But
like a slider or anything. It sucks.
yeah, and it should stop at the river. But anyway, all right.
Yeah.
You min raise, check check flop. We don't know if you bet or he
Check.
bets the turn. He bets.
Yeah. I don't.
Okay.
I
Do you
really don't
call or
understand why that he would bet. Actually,
why not? What do you mean?
because the six doesn't change much of his range. There's no reason why I would like. Why would he not bet the flop?
Why would he donk?
Uh, if he had
I have a
like
question. Do you? All right. Button opens. You call from big blind. Do you have a donking range? Like, are there flops and hands that you'll donk with?
that I will donk with. Considering my position, only a few like
No,
jacks.
like in the example I just gave, like there's an open. You
Okay.
call from the big blind. Are you
Oh,
donking any flops or
like
any
from his
boards?
perspective. Okay. Um,
Because
only
the point I'm
like
trying to make is you say, oh well, what is he betting turn with that he didn't bet flop with? Flop on check check, and he should always just start with a check, right? Like he should
yeah.
never have a lead calling from the big blind. Maybe some solvers, maybe a board like 2-3-6 if it's like low jack versus big blind. Like some of those like really low boards where maybe early position doesn't have enough low cards. Maybe solvers will make some leads.
Oh, I see.
Um, but but generally speaking, most people are just going to play checking their entire range out of position. So once flop goes check check, yeah, he should be leading a lot of turns. Like he could
Okay.
be betting here with uh, a lot of pairs. Like I'd personally be leading some of my 9x, pretty much all my 10x. Obviously, a hand like pocket fours. And then as far as bluffs, maybe some of his high equity draws he's going to lead here, like his diamond
Mm,
draws, maybe hands with a 7 or an 8 in them that don't have that much showdown, like a hand like 8 jack. So
okay.
there's a lot of hands that he'll lead because you know you didn't bet flop, so your range is a little bit weaker now, and
Yep.
maybe he's looking to take it down.
That makes sense to me.
So anyway, so
Got it.
you call
Yeah.
with a gutter and ace high, which is like okay. I know you raise. Don't
Yeah.
like that. Don't like that.
So there's no yeah six. I guess there's a straight draw here, but no reason to raise or try to push him out because he's not going to fold any of the hands that are better
Well,
than
not
mine.
especially not facing a min raise. Like if you're going to be raising here, which I personally wouldn't raise this hand, just because you have some showdown and you just have a really easy call.
Yeah.
But definitely don't min raise. Like in a lot of these spots you're putting in these min raises,
Yeah.
you should be raising anywhere from like 3 to 5x,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Got it.
But anyway, you do min raise, he calls, and then river goes check
There's nothing.
jam, pretty much.
Yeah. I jammed there.
Almost, yeah. You bet 2 times pot. I mean,
And it
your
worked.
block. I guess your thought is I block 8-7.
Yeah. Um, and I also thought that he was. I thought that a lot of diamonds were. I didn't block any diamonds. Which he probably had one and then just sort of gave up or something. Like that could have happened.
Yeah,
Although,
I mean, I have no idea what he had.
yeah,
I like I said, if you're gonna find some bluffs here, I mean, having an 8 is good. To your point, you don't have any diamonds in your hand. That's pretty good. Like I would hate making this play with like I don't know, ace jack of diamonds or some shit like that.
right,
I just think that I'd be a pretty awful bluffing candidate.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think flop, c betting or checking back are both okay.
yeah,
Turn, once he leads, I just call. And
yeah.
by the way, if he doesn't lead turn, your hand still just makes a decent check back. You have showdown with ace high,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you have a gutter. So it's kind of one of those spots we talked about before. You could just try to realize your equity.
Yeah.
As you played it, I mean, it's 2x overbet on the river. It's probably going to work a decent amount.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not the
What
worst hand to do it with.
calls
So,
that?
okay. What'd you say?
What I mean, I'm trying to think what hands would call that bet with this kind of board.
So, obviously, he could have 7-8. He could also have 3-5 of diamonds.
Oh, true. Yeah. Two, three,
That's
four,
hand
five,
that
six. Yeah.
could call. And then
But that
he might
doesn't
just.
like bet the turn, does it?
I'd definitely be betting turn with 3 5 of diamonds. You have
Oh,
five
of
high
diamonds.
and
Yeah, that's true.
you have five high, but you also have a flush draw and open ender. That's like an amazing. Like imagine he bets 3 5 on the turn and you fold ace king.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally getting five high, and taking it down.
Yeah.
That's a really good result. So yeah, 5 3 of diamonds. I'd definitely bet turn. And then as far as the rest of his calling hands, I'd probably just call most of my two pairs and all my sets.
Yeah.
And just kind of say if you have 7 8, good for you.
Okay.
I'm a station, so maybe he folds. Maybe he folds like 6 4 or some shit. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I mean,
True.
I think your mistake was turn.
Yeah.
River is like
It
okay.
seems weak
See,
from
like I
that
said, see
perspective.
betting this flop's okay. Checking it back's probably okay too.
Okay.
I'd rather bet worse hands. So
Yeah. All right. Let's see what.
you have to hit stop, and then it just
Okay.
gets you to the beginning.
I'm actually trying to see why I chose this particular one. But
I'm gonna
we can
guess
just
it was
watch
an
it.
open. You flatted from the button, checked around flop, and then you stab turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Min click.
Yeah. Okay. Um. This damned replayer. Holy shit.
I mean, I already remember the hand.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What was going through your mind when you min click 3 bet this pre-flop?
Oh. Let me try and remember. Oh, that's just wrong, right? Yeah. Yeah, you just fold. I would think.
Yeah, it's not close.
Yeah.
I would not be calling here.
Okay, that raise was too small, right? Yeah.
Just jam, dude. You have no money.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Rip it in.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
that's
assuming.
basically what I
Okay,
do.
hope you don't fold flop. I don't care what the
Oh,
flop is.
it's
I
like
hope you
10
don't fold
cents
it.
or something, right? Yeah.
But yeah, this hand's not worth reviewing. Just
Okay.
I would not be sitting. I would not be sitting at a table with 13 bigs. If I was, I would just be jamming this pre.
Yeah. Well,
But
actually,
it's
that's
fine.
good
Money
to
got in
hear.
anyway.
Yeah. Let's see this one. That's interesting. Okay. VX, yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, check, check. Small bet. Yeah, so how could I have squeezed him more is my question.
I mean, couldn't. For being honest.
I guess. Okay,
Uh,
good.
like I think your raise pre is good.
Okay.
I'd probably just continue this flop.
Okay.
I'd really only be checking like exactly queens. Just because obviously at that point you have quads,
Yeah.
and then you don't have a club in your hand. So like if you had like king queen with the king of clubs,
Uh-huh.
maybe there's a little bit more merit to checking. But without any clubs, I'd definitely just be continuing for a third. And then a lot of people have this fascination with like, oh, I bet and he folded, so I didn't get any value. And it's just like, yeah, it's gonna happen a lot. Same thing with this hand, right? Like you bet a third on the turn, he called. And the river is just like all right, clubs got there, Jack 10 gets there, Ace X gets there.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to like what does he call with P? I mean, he doesn't have jacks or tens, right? So it's probably
Yeah.
three bet. So if he has nines, eight, seven, six, five, if he has any of these under pairs, like there's not much to do.
It's true. I mean,
I think betting small is getting small. Betting small is okay. If he has like ace jack or ace 10, he probably flicks it in. And if he has if he has a flush or a straight, he probably raises. But you could also check raise this river. It's kind of hard to find bluffs from your perspective, but yeah, if you want to check and let him spaz, I mean that's a viable play too.
Yeah.
Just because you do have the board blocked up pretty hard, and clubs get there, just straight gets there. So there are worse hands he could value bet, and then you could raise over.
Right.
But as far as like, I don't think you played it incorrectly. It's just you're not always going to get paid off.
Got it. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a similar spot.
Oh, you're actually winning. You're winning pots. It's a miracle.
I know.
You're not getting stacked.
God loves me a little bit.
Actually, we don't know. Maybe he raised the river and he had the nuts. Let's see.
And maybe I fucked up this pre-flop as badly.
I mean, I hope you just opened. I mean, I would go three bigs.
Yeah.
Fold to the three bet.
Yeah, I think that was actually this pick. Okay. Easy call, right?
Yeah, king 10 off. Oh, on the flop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, versus that size. I mean, what is that, a quarter pot?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't actually have anything. You just have a bunch of back doors, but...
Yeah.
I mean, literally any bigger I'd fold. Like,
yeah,
5 big blinds I'm folding. Half pot, 2/3, I'm folding all those.
So that went... let's go back to the turn.
Check on the turn.
Okay.
That river's not right. Oh, okay, it's lagging.
So that I just...
You rivered a straight, right? And he folded?
I rivered a flush. No, yeah, straight. I don't know why I thought it was a flush. Yeah. So he thought tens were in my range, or he wasn't blocking it, and just that was that. Nice and easy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard for him to find calls. I mean, the flush gets there. It's a 4-liner to a straight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really tough for him to find calls here. So in spots like this, you'd even size down.
Okay.
Even smaller than half. But I mean, half's not like a bad bet. But yeah, if you want to bet even smaller and just think about like, all right, what hands can he, what's he really going to hero me with here? Like it's
Do you like
very
a
difficult.
check at all?
I mean, I guess Phil independent. I think once he checks back turn, I don't think he's going to randomly bluff this river, but maybe he will.
Yeah.
It's close. Yeah, this isn't like a super easy hand.
Yeah.
I'd say the biggest. I would open bigger, blind be blind, and then this hand's a fold to a 3-bet.
Yeah. Because he could.
Doesn't play very well. But
all right, so here's I think the last one that I had, other than the fuck up one. I guess all of these are fuck ups, but most of them.
A couple of them aren't too bad. It's hard to play. It's hard to play perfect poker, man.
This is true. This guy, that's his stock.
Why do you always 3-bet so tiny?
Let me see. Was that another just
Yeah, you're just min clicking all over the place.
Yeah. I need to see that again.
I remember the size. You made it like 4 bigs.
Okay.
Went from 2.5 to 4 or 5.
Yeah, too small for that. I think I thought because I was in this position, I had to.
Yeah, 3-betting's correct. You should be 3-betting or folding. But I mean that size does nothing.
So opening here with backdoor flush draw and straight draw, do you think is appropriate?
You should just be c-betting. Just c-bet this flop always.
Okay. Okay.
And then he raised, by the way. You see bet
Yeah.
and he raised.
Uh huh. So he's
Calling is a little dicey, but I think it's fine with backdoor spades.
cool. So he's got, you know, all his tens, aces. This is one of those weird, unconnected, and the boards where you're mostly talking about pairs, I guess.
This board's definitely connected. I would not say it's unconnected.
Oh, I thought like connected meant like lots of close together numbered cards, but that's not what it means.
Yeah, I mean, on the flop is pretty dry. Turn definitely gets a little bit spicier.
Oh, right.
Some Broadway gets there.
Mm-hmm.
8-9 gets there. A flush draw comes in. A blank on the turn would be like 3 of clubs.
Yeah.
Jack of diamonds is now a blank. But you check call a small bet and then you donk jam river.
Yeah.
Repping backdoor diamonds.
Yeah.
Did he fold or call?
He
I'm
folded.
assuming he folded.
Yeah. So it worked
Yeah,
in that particular.
yeah. What do you think he had?
I thought he had an ace, something.
His turn bet's pretty bad. His turn bet's too small, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, your donk jam on a river is pretty questionable. I think you're going to get looked up here a
Okay.
decent amount. Like most hands that he's like, if I'm in his shoes, right? Let's say I have ace 10.
Yeah.
You open, fine. He gets him in 3 bet, easy call. You see bet flop, he finds a raise. Turn bet small. If somebody's donk jamming this river, I mean, I'm just gonna probably flick it in and say if you have, diamonds,
So be it. Yeah.
good for you.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I'm not folding 2 pair. Maybe I'll fold. I mean, I'm also just not going to be raising any weak ace, so it's a little weird. Okay, I don't have ace king here, right? Because I'm just 4 betting pre. So
So my main problem is that I overvalue my hands. I think.
well, this wasn't a value bet, was it? This was a bluff.
Right. Well, that and yeah, I don't bluff correctly at all. I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Cool.
The ace 8 hand was kind of cool. That was the only hand that was kind of cool. Where you raise turn and then and like bet 2x pawn over. That hand was kind of cool.
What was that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, this hand. This hand was fun. Was fun.
Remember that.
I think he folds all of his 10x.
Sure. Sure.
Like ace 10, king 10. I think he folds all those.
Yeah.
I think you have really massive pre-flop leaks though.
Yep. Gonna fix that. Study the
I
charts
would,
some more.
yeah, I would really just study. Jonathan Little's charts aren't bad.
Yeah.
Really study Poker Snowy, um,
Okay.
and pay attention to sizes. So generally,
Okay.
in position, you want to be 3xing.
Yeah.
Out of position, you want to go 4x or even a little bit bigger for 3 bets, and then 4 bets get a little bit spicier. But
Yeah.
4 bets, you don't have to go that big. The biggest you'll ever go for a 4 bet is like 3x, and that's out of position. A lot of times you're going to go between like 2.2, 2.5, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd work on pre-flop. Try to, I mean, if you're playing short stacked because you have, sorry, my dog. If you're playing short stacked from like a financial issue, I would just move down in stakes. Like if you have $40 in your account, don't play 25, 50 cent. Just play 5 cent, 10 cent, and just sit at 100 bigs. I mean, it's still only
Okay.
4 buy-ins, but at least then you're 100 big blinds. But playing one table with 80 bigs for your entire roll is tough.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not my entire role. It's just a pain in the ass to, keep money in the.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, ACR can be a bit annoying,
Yeah.
especially if you're not comfortable using a credit card that you have to buy crypto and everything.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's a rip off. So.
But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
hey,
Yeah.
at least
I'm
you're
ready.
you have some bluff in you. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So-
certainly do. It's a life thing as well. So.
I would yeah, tie up the pre-flop. I wouldn't even recommend really looking at like solves or solvers yet. Uh,
Yeah.
I would just tighten up, just try to play ABC poker,
Okay.
and then in a month, if you're like in a couple weeks or a month or X number of hands, if you start doing better,
Yeah.
start making some money, then I would look at solves and try to understand some spots better. But
Okay.
that's where I would go from here if I were you.
I saw someone ask this question on a website earlier. When would you give up if you were me? If like I'm investing more time into learning good poker than I uh, would just learning how to do a different job, even though I enjoy poker. I guess that's a really hard question to answer because you don't know my situation. But
Yeah, I think that your last sentence kind of hits the nail on the head, right? I
okay,
think if
that's
you
fair.
already have like a decent job
Yeah,
and you don't mind depositing, 100 or a couple $100 every month, trying to learn, trying to get better.
yeah,
If you, the thing is, you have to be honest with yourself though. Like, are
yeah.
you actually going to be getting better? I think that's something. If you're playing it as a hobby, you don't care. Then you don't care, right? Like, yeah, you'll try to get
Mm-hmm.
better, but if you lose, you lose. It's a hobby, similar to golf or anything else that you're going to be spending money on.
Yeah,
If you're trying to make this like a side hustle and you're trying to make money from it, and you're just losing 5 to 10 buy-ins every month,
yeah.
then you know
It's
at a
not.
certain point,
Yeah,
like doing these review sessions helps a lot. But let's say 2 weeks from now, you're like, "Hey Brian, you want to look at some hands again?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And we go and open this up, and the very first hand you're sitting at 70 big blinds, and you min 3-bet from the small blind. I'm just gonna be like, dude,
yeah,
like you're like if you're just doing the same shit uh, and getting the same results, and then you tell me, "Oh, I'm trying to, make money from this."
Oh
Like I
no,
said, it's really tough.
I'm a student for a living, so like I will listen to you for sure. So
Yeah, like I said, I take the game seriously,
yeah,
and like I'm at like a 200 Zoom. I mean, if my all
nice.
in EV is positive, but over like 40K hands, I'm losing right now at 200 Zoom.
Hmm.
That's like a decent sample, and like I said, the pool is tough. It's poker's not super easy to get into
Yeah,
unless you find good games, and I wouldn't describe ACRs as soft. So you're definitely gonna have your work cut out for you. But hey, it's possible.
yep. That's what I want to do. I want to get good at it and make some money doing it, and I think I can. So I'm gonna keep trying. So thanks for your help, and yeah, stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, if in a couple weeks, if you want to look at some more hands, just let me know.
Sweet, yeah, fun times. All right, take
All
care.
right, take it easy, man.